It looks like we are close to an encounter between Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock at WrestleMania this year, this coming at the same time that we have learned that Stone Cold will be involved at WrestleMania 40 in some capacity. What exactly do we know about this so far? What could Stone Cold do with The Rock in this whole bloodline Cody Rhodes story? Where does he fit in? And where do we go from here? Also, we're going to be talking about a former WWE executive joining AEW in a very prominent role and the impact that's going to have on AEW moving forward and the entire wrestling industry as well. All that, much more coming up in this video. Be sure to smash that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. All right. So we learned recently, according to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, that Stone Cold Steve Austin was planned for a major segment at WrestleMania 40. The original plans were to have Stone Cold, The Undertaker, and John Cena somehow be involved. A lot of people believe that this was going to be kind of reminiscent to what we saw back at WrestleMania 30 between the Hulk Hogan, The Rock, and Stone Cold himself. Well, now the teases and everything that's happened over the past number of weeks have got people thinking about what else is possible and could Stone Cold be doing something else? Well, we saw last night live on Monday Night Raw that WWE did a very interesting thing when they were shooting the angle between Cody Rhodes and The Rock, where The Rock was beating the absolute piss out of Cody Rhodes. And one of the things we noticed is that the trucks that were featured in this shot featured John Cena and Stone Cold, two of The Rock's most prominent rivals of all time, and the two biggest baby faces, arguably, in WWE history. And this has a lot of people thinking that potentially we could see some sort of involvement with Stone Cold and The Rock. And this was even taken up a notch by WrestleVotes, who, again, is a pretty well-sourced resource for wrestling insider news, saying the following. Tweeting about this, I should say, and saying the following. Everything is done on purpose. 2 weeks out from WrestleMania, the backdrop of the WrestleMania-specific trucks last night would have sufficed. I'll leave it at that. So, of course, WrestleVotes there kind of teasing that this shot was deliberate, that they are teasing and building that excitement about an eventual or potential Stone Cold Steve Austin involvement at WrestleMania 40 with The Rock. Now, of course, we know he's going to be there. It would be interesting to see Stone Cold somehow involved in this storyline. I believe that, they are building this bloodline thing up, and they have built this up to be one of, if not the biggest story in WWE history. And for a lot of it, they have succeeded at that. And it has taken a lot of twists and turns, some of them great, like the Sami Zayn, Jey Uso stuff early on, some of them not so great, like everything after SummerSlam 2023. But if you look at the potential here to create a moment, and remember, I've said this before, I'll say it again, WWE isn't necessarily in the business of telling great stories and giving you that satisfaction of a great story. They want to do that. That is an ideal situation. The main priority, however, is to create memorable moments that people will watch back for years and decades to come. And if you find a way to have a face-off with Cody Rhodes and the Stone Cold Steve Austin on one side and The Rock and Roman Reigns on another, that is an epic all-time level WrestleMania moment that accomplishes two things. One, it creates that content that WWE needs, that they make very profitable through their deals with Peacock, Netflix, etc. But also, it validates Cody Rhodes even more because he will be alongside Stone Cold Steve Austin, the biggest star, the person who gets the biggest pop every time he comes out at any wrestling event. And the ability to give Cody that credibility and that validation and the chance to do that, I think, is undeniable. And also, you create a moment where you have The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin staring each other down, going head to head. The final time ever. Who knows? They will likely never have a matchup together. Although, never say never, especially in the TKO world of professional wrestling. Never say never to that. But assuming they don't have a match, this would be the final time that these two are face to face. And if we look back at when wrestling was at their most popular, when WWE was at their best, in a lot of people's eyes, it was during the Attitude Era. And for 3 WrestleManias throughout that time, those two men, Stone Cold and The Rock, were the ones who pushed forward and main evented WrestleMania. I'm not saying that they're going to have a match. I'm not saying that they are going to, that Stone Cold is going to, help Cody win. But I'm saying that even something as small as Stone Cold coming out and going face to face with The Rock and giving him some comeuppance, that right there would be a memorable ass moment. And I think WWE's in the business of doing that. It makes sense to do. Will they do it? I guess we'll see. I'm not sure about what the limitations are with The Rock and his contract. But he's going to be active. He's going to be having a match. Why not do it? I want to hear from you guys, though. What do you think about this? Let me know in the comments section below. As we move forward, though, we also have to talk about All Elite Wrestling making a big change in leadership here. We have a new executive, Kosha Irby, joining the promotion as the Chief Operating Officer. This is as part of AEW's efforts to kind of bolster and rework their internal structure. We saw this with a whole bunch of departures back in December. Slowly but surely, they've been adding people in, and this is a new hire. And this was someone that that AEW brought in from WWE. So the official statement here I'm going to read from Tony Khan says the following. Kosha brings decades of experience within sports and entertainment and wrestling industries alongside an incredible work ethic and passion for our brand. As Chief Operating Officer, he will be a phenomenal asset to AEW as we enter the next phase of the company's ongoing business development expansion. And that's the key word there, expansion, because AEW is no longer the startup, the wrestling startup that did it all, the little engine that could. AEW is a legitimate challenger brand and industry mainstay. That is what they are. And with that growth comes changes that you need to make in order to kind of see that vision from a business standpoint, because you can't just run everything like you did back in the day, because it's, one, not efficient, and number two, it doesn't fit the scope of what the company is. They have a lot more talent than they did back in 2019. They have a lot more shows than they did back in 2019. They have a lot more crew and other staff that they did in 2019. They have a lot more responsibility, product, etc. There's just a lot of stuff going on in AEW, and they need to have the structures in place in order to better manage them, because it can't be Tony Khan and a few other people. It has to be delegated. These things have to be delegated. We've talked about that with the writing and the story and the creative. We also need to talk about that with the internal structures, because one of the biggest things that went wrong in AEW over the past number of years was what? It was the Brawl Out incident with CM Punk and the Elite. The fact that that was never figured out, the fact that you didn't have the necessarily the human resources and operations management to figure that out was an issue, and it was a critical issue. And honestly, operations and HR has kind of been a pretty substantial issue for AEW over the past number of years. We've seen suspensions, backstage incidents, all that kind of stuff has leaked out, and it's not good for the company, and there is like a sense of that. So this is a good move for them. For those of you who are asking, Irby was actually part of WWE for a while. He was the former chief marketing officer of Clemson University before coming to AEW, and also served as the regional director of live events for WWE from 2011 to 2018. So 7 years of experience producing live events, being in charge and managing talent in that way. That brings a lot of value for AEW, a lot of experience that they need as a growing company. Because in 2025, when they hit this new TV deal, when they sign this and hopefully they get expanded to Max, they are going to need that vision of what a big time, real, mainstay professional wrestling company looks like. They need to bring in those people who had that experience. And that doesn't mean that you do exactly what you did in WWE. People have to adapt, and I think they will. And that's part of this push and pull that AEW is going through. It is no longer a super indie. It is a real, brand name professional wrestling company. And I'm kind of glad that they're starting to act like it now, because that doesn't mean you change up the wrestling or anything like that, or even the creative, but you have to have those internal structures in place that, allow for the company to market well, allow for the company to take care of their talent better, and allow for the communications internally to be efficient and also, helpful to everyone. So very, very interesting stuff here. A lot of wrestling news, as always, coming your way. And Real Take Wrestling is the only source for you. Well, I talk about the news, but Real Take Wrestling here, bringing you all the action. Guys, be sure to smash that like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Let me know what you guys think about all of this stuff in the comment section below. Until next time, keep it real.